If you had high exposure to altcoins, you've probably really felt this market nuke. Big crashes like this shake portfolios, and they shake people. The market makers feasted. It happens. But instead of feeling wrecked, let's talk about some ways survivors in crypto think about moving forward after a loss. Now, I've seen this pattern play out again and again in crypto. The hype cycle is brutal, and most people only realize they will exit liquidity after it's too late. But I'm here to tell you, a loss doesn't mean game over. I've been through multiple massive market downturns before, and I understand how disheartening it can be. And frankly, it can be kind of scary when crashes are epic like this recent one. But with the right strategies and mindset, it's possible to get over this and come out stronger. So the good news is plenty of investors have taken losses and still managed to rebuild. And today I want to share some insights on how they do it. In this video, we'll go over how survivors typically respond after a loss, how some assess their next steps, and ways to think more critically about risk in the future. So let's get into it. Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Anna, the founder of Sovereign Stash, and I'm passionate about sharing insights that can help you think more clearly about your approach to the crypto market. My goal is to bring a sensible perspective when emotions run high, so you can make more informed decisions instead of acting on impulse. If you like the idea of that, give this video a like and subscribe to support more content like this. It really helps the channel grow. One of the biggest challenges in crypto is just staying in the game long enough to see real growth. Too many people get wiped out and quit before they ever get the chance. I know this because I had to learn it in order to grow my stash from nothing to 6 figures in a few years. Now, this video is for informational and educational purposes only. Nothing here is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, you know the drill. Always do your own research before making investment decisions. Now, today's video will cover some basic stuff, but if you're more advanced, honestly, I think it can help to revisit the basics of investing regularly. You might find that you're making some of the same mistakes beginners do, even without realizing it. So stick around, you might pick up something valuable or a new perspective. First off, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room. Investing in altcoins can be exciting, but they come with high risk. If you've lost money, I'm sorry to hear it. The good news is many investors have explored different strategies to rebuild their portfolios and get back on track. Let's dive into some of them. Okay, first of all, give yourself an emotional check-in. For each of you, be honest. What are your emotions now? And what were your emotions when you bought each of the cryptos in your portfolio? Now, I'm not asking how you're feeling because I want to be touchy-feely and I'm some sweet lady who likes to talk about emotions, but because you need to start understanding the role emotions play in investing in risky assets. Now, emotions are natural, but they lead us to make poor investment decisions. So it's important to keep emotions in check and be aware of them. I'm going to take a guess as to why you loaded up on alts in the first place. For most, it was feelings of FOMO, fear of missing out, of maximum gains probably. But think about that for a second. Was it really fear or was it greed? FOMO and greed are closely linked. Both can push you into rushed, emotionally driven decisions, but neither mindset tends to set you up for rational, strategic investing. Some people can navigate with those emotional impulses, but for most it leads to bad entries, bad exits, and painful lessons. All right, you've got to assess the damage. So from what I've seen, most people who recover from crashes tend to assess their situation quickly without reacting emotionally. They look at how much of their portfolio actually took a hit. They figure out whether it was bad timing of their entries, like did they just buy high prices instead of buying low prices? How much of it was poor allocation sizing, so did they just buy too much of a not so good thing? Or was it just brutal market conditions? Some investors find it helpful to do retrospectives on their trades. I'm one of them. Don't get stuck staring at unrealized losses without a plan. Go through each crypto you own and get a plan for it if you didn't have one already. I always ask myself, if this was a fresh trade today, would I enter it? That's a tough but important question. Some investors take crashes as a signal to adjust their exposure in ways that make sense for them. I know for me personally, if I'm losing sleep over my crypto bags, I've got too much exposure to the market or just too much risk in general. Just selling some lets me sleep better, literally the next night. Now, historically, I've noticed that Bitcoin dominance tends to rise after major market dumps. In case it's not obvious, that's because after a shakeup, investors rethink how much they want high volatility plays versus established assets such as Bitcoin. Some people take this time to assess what they actually want to be holding long term. Everyone has their own approach, Some sit tight, some rebalance, some buy more. It depends on their own thesis. Understanding the reasons behind your loss is crucial to preventing similar mistakes in the future. The obvious reason that still needs to be said are that altcoins are notoriously volatile. Their prices can skyrocket based on hype but crash just as quickly when the buzz fades or if there's a significant market shakeup. Unlike Bitcoin or even a handful of well-established altcoins, most alts have weak or non-existent fundamentals that make them heavily dependent on speculation and market hype. For many of these projects, price action isn't tied to real-world adoption, revenue models, or strong network effects. Instead, their value tends to rise and fall purely on attention cycles or narratives and liquidity influxes. This cycle has exposed one of the biggest traps in crypto investing, the round trip. You bought an altcoin early, it pumped, you were up big, maybe 2x, 5x, even 10x. But instead of taking profits, you held on, thinking it had more room to run. Then before you knew it, the hype faded. The price started bleeding, you watched your gains disappear, telling yourself it'll bounce back, but it didn't. And now you're back where you started, or worse. Why does this round trip happen so often? Well, firstly, people anchor to the highest price they saw. So when you're up big, your brain locks onto that peak number. You stop thinking about your entry price and you only see the potential profit you should have made. So when the price starts dropping, you hesitate to sell, convinced it'll return to the high. Now, a second reason is this just one more pump mindset. Many holders keep moving the goalpost. You thought 2x was enough, then 4x, then you wanted 10x. The longer you hold on not taking profit, it becomes harder to exit. Narratives keep people holding too long as well. When hype is at its peak, nobody wants to sell. Influencers are screaming about the next 100x, and conviction is at an all-time high. And you're really proud of yourself, you picked a winner. But narratives shift fast in crypto, and by the time reality sets in, it's already too late. Then there's the back to break even fallacy. Many investors refuse to sell because they want to at least get back to even. But what if that never happens? Many altcoins never recover once the liquidity leaves. Not every project has a second wave. Some alts recover and make new highs, but most don't. Some linger in a slow downtrend, giving people false hope before fading. Others completely vanish as attention shifts to the next hype cycle. At the end of the day, the round trip is one of the most painful experiences in crypto. You were right about the trade at first, you picked an asset that pumped. But timing the exit is where most people fail. It's a hard lesson, but one that defines who makes it long term in this altcoin space. So holding on to a losing crypto isn't just about the market, it's about what's happening in your mind. Let's talk about a few common psychological biases that might be holding you back from making better decisions. Tell me if any of these sound familiar. Loss aversion. Your desire to avoid a loss keeps you clinging to your losses, hoping for a recovery that might never come. It's natural to want to avoid pain, but in the markets, this can cost you more than you realize. Sunk cost fallacy. This one's tricky. It tempts you to throw good money after bad because the more you're invested in something, the harder it feels to walk away. Holding onto a downtrending token just because you've already lost a lot is rarely a good strategy. Anchoring bias. This is when you wait for an old high that's long gone. It's like you're anchored to the price you bought. For example, if you bought an altcoin at its peak, you might find yourself irrationally waiting for it to return to that price, even when the market has completely moved on. So how do you avoid these traps? Many experienced investors believe that knowing when to cut losses is a key skill, and I agree. If you're holding a downtrending token that the market clearly doesn't want, it may pay to reevaluate. If a token is consistently downtrending, a market clearly doesn't want it. Unless you've got a special insight that the market hasn't caught on to. Unlikely. Let's face it, most of us are relying on wishful thinking. Instead, we need to recognize when to move on, free up our remaining capital, and look for opportunities in projects that the market is actually optimistic about. That's how you turn pain into gain. This table shows you the amount a token needs to go up again for each stage of loss. You can see the maths aren't very intuitive for our mere human brains when thinking about recovery prices. I like to keep this table handy because it helps me to sell. Now, the volatility in crypto means sometimes you can get lucky and recover your position from insane losses, but oftentimes, such as with meme coins, they have charts that look like this. Yikes. And they don't pump again. They're dead, or zombies at this point. And miracles happen, but honestly, don't bet on it. So understand that we are psychologically wired to hold our losses instead of realizing them. I wrote about crypto buyer's remorse in an article on X, which I will link in the video description if you're interested in learning more. Now, let's talk about some possible approaches if you're holding and wondering what to do next. There are really three main options people consider. Firstly, the hold strategy. If you believe in the long-term potential of each of your alt positions and expect the price to recover, holding might be an option. However, this is risky and speculative. Ensure you're comfortable with a long ride and the potential for further losses. The sell strategy. If you've looked at the numbers and feel your alts no longer fit your strategy, some investors in situations like that choose to sell. Others decide to hold and wait for a potential resurgence or second pump. It really depends on your own outlook and risk tolerance. Sometimes people move into other cryptos that they feel they have better long-term prospects. Something to keep in mind, not advice. Thirdly is the partial sell. Some investors, when facing losses, consider a middle ground approach, selling part of their holdings to reduce exposure while still keeping some in case the price rebounds. It really depends on how much optimism they have for a recovery within a time frame they're comfortable with. It's easy to think in terms of all or nothing, sell or hold, but there are different ways to approach a position based on your own strategy. Let's say you decide to sell some or all of your alts. What's next? A lot of people start thinking about how to rebuild their portfolio in a way that feels more balanced. Instead of going all in on a meme coin again or a bunch of hyped high-risk alts, if that's what you did, or even if you didn't, it can help to balance your portfolio between assets that have different risk levels. Just a quick reminder, this is not financial advice. Crypto investments carry risk and everyone's situation is different. Make sure you do your own research before deciding how to allocate your portfolio. Do you know what level of risk you are holding in your portfolio? It's surprising just how many people honestly have no idea. A quick rule of thumb is to know its rank in the broader crypto market. Go to a site like coingecko.com and check it out. Bitcoin is number one. Generally, a lower number equals a lower risk. A higher number equals a higher risk. This is a general guideline and not a definitive measure of investment safety, as the risk level of a crypto asset depends on many factors. But a general rule of thumb based on market rank would be, this is an approximate guide, so your top 10 is the lowest risk for crypto. These are the most established, strongest liquidity, and highest adoption. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, etc. Then you've got your top 50, low to medium risk, still relatively well-known projects with strong ecosystems. So DeFi blue chips, layer ones, and major utility tokens. Then you've got your top 100, medium risk, projects with strong fundamentals, but less certainty about long-term survival. Some layer 2s, gaming, metaverse tokens, and growing DeFi platforms. Now, top 200, medium to high risk. Many projects here are still growing, but haven't fully proven themselves. Some could break into the top ranks, but others might fade away. Now, outside the top 200 is high risk. This has lower liquidity, smaller teams, and higher chances of failure or scams. Some might be hidden gems, but many won't survive multiple cycles. Outside the top 500, very high risk, ultra speculative, extremely illiquid, often abandoned pump and dump schemes. These tokens may never recover if they fail to gain traction. So every time you buy a crypto, try to think like this. Where is it on the leaderboard? Top 50 to top 100 is usually where people start considering medium risk. Anything outside the top 200 is generally considered high risk. I will rant about allocation sizing strategies till the cows come home. It's always baffled me why people don't pay attention to the breakdown of their portfolio in the different percentage allocation they give to each crypto. One approach some investors use is having a solid foundation in a blue chip like Bitcoin and then having some exposure to higher risk plays. Let's break it down. Bitcoin is the market king. It has survived multiple market cycles, outlasted every hype trend, and continues to be a go-to asset for long-term holders. It has become a trusted store of value and it dominates the market for this reason. When thinking about how to diversify, some conservative investors have historically put a big chunk, like somewhere between 70 to 90% into Bitcoin, because it's seen as the stable center of their portfolio. They then might sprinkle a bit, maybe 10 to 25% into altcoins that have real utility or promising projects. Just keep an eye on how many are top 50 or if you've gone further out into top 200 or more. And for the meme coins, they might just throw in a tiny dash, say 1 to 3% for a bit of fun, knowing that it's all high risk. Remember, these are just examples from what some investors have done in the past, not a blueprint for what you should do. Everyone's got their own risk appetite and strategy. If you've been caught on the wrong side of meme coins or altcoin hype before, it might be worth reassessing your approach and finding ways to participate in big opportunities without overexposing yourself to pure speculation. Crypto is full of horrific market moments, and how you position yourself determines how well you survive these cycles. Some investors refine their strategy repeatedly over time. That's me. And I really think that helps me maintain a portfolio that can survive these market shocks. Don't let a setback derail your path to financial freedom. If this video has given you a new perspective, please hit that like button and subscribe to Sovereign Stash. I'm here to share my years of experience in crypto, so if you want more insights like these, stick around, and also you can follow me on X at Sovereign Stash. Drop a comment below. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from buying altcoins? I'd love to hear from you. And if you have a friend getting wrecked by alts, send them this video. Let's save some portfolios together. Seriously, that would mean a lot to me. This channel is brand new and every share helps more people discover it. For more on my crypto journey, check out my video, I grew a 6-figure crypto portfolio without being a degen bro. Thanks for watching, and let's continue this journey to financial freedom together. See you in the next video.